Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2020 BMW M240i. Up front is a 3.0 liter turbocharged inline 6, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this M240i because I've driven a couple of them here on the channel, at least a couple of 2 Series in this chassis, ranging from the base model up to the M2 competition. And I've also driven the new 2 Series, so I'm bringing a lot of past experiences to this review to see how well this generation of BMW 2 Series aged. But if you'd like to share your vehicle with me, you can head on over to my website, zackprato.com. It's a quick and easy submission form. Takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that B58 under the hood, making about 335 horsepower from the factory, but this car does have an aftermarket tune and some aftermarket goodies added to it to put it up around 400. Well, that is the absolute crown jewel of this car. The B58 has been used and is still currently being used by BMW and Toyota in the Supra, and I love this engine. It's a really good mix of being rev happy and enjoyable while delivering a good amount of power. 4-cylinder engines love to rev, and they're a lot of fun to beat on, but they don't make that much power. Similarly, V8s make a lot of power, but they don't rev as freely. And so this is a very, very nice middle ground, and of course there are tons of aftermarket modifications that you can do, and owners have gotten these engines to be up around 1,000 horsepower. So very, very cool that you have tons of different opportunities for modification here with the B58. Yep, that's enough to to feel it in your gut. Oh boy, oh boy. And that wasn't even really getting on it. I don't really like thrashing other people's cars, but oh man, that's something you feel down in your sternum. Like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic. It was the only transmission offered in the regular 2 Series. The BMW M2 actually got a 7-speed dual clutch, and there's not a whole lot of difference between that transmission and this. Similarly, I prefer to vacation in Maine, but if I go to Washington State, it's basically the same thing. That's how I feel about these 2 transmissions. The 8-speed is a ZF transmission, and it's doing really well. Last but not least, the M240i that I'm currently driving is all-wheel drive. Now, you could find these in rear, but this is the all-wheel drive version, which is a huge benefit over the BMW M2. If you wanted all-wheel drive, the M2 was not available with that. So you had to come down to this, the M240i, which is nearly a necessity here. I'm filming in the city of Chicago today. We have pretty harsh winters, and so all-wheel drive is a really, really nice thing to have. So how's it feel to actually drive the M240i? It's fantastic. My favorite thing about this car, besides that engine, is the size. I think the size of the M240i is fantastic and nearly perfect, if I do say so myself. It's not too big, but it's not a shoebox either, and I really, really like that. Steering is great. Visibility is pretty good. I love the way these cars drive, and that's not going to be changed. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 2 gauges. Off to the left is my speedometer and fuel, and off to the right is my tachometer and my MPG gauge. BMW has been doing this since the 80s, and it's kind of funny to see that. I do also have some digital screen bits as well, giving me some nice solid information. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my cruise control settings, and off to the right, I have my volume, mode, and voice commands, as well as I do have paddle shifters around the back, which is really nice to see. And the steering wheel is very, very thin. I particularly prefer thin steering wheels, so I love how this M240i is outfitted. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, as well as my headlight switches, lane keep assist, things like that. And then moving out of the door, I do have my power mirrors and power window options. Moving into the center, we do have our infotainment system. This is the xDrive system. It's fine. I don't really love it, and as time goes on, my feelings haven't really changed. I think it does a lot of things well, but the usability of it is kind of a headache, and BMW is the only vehicle that has a worse sound than the standard iPhone alarm for whenever a warning comes up. If you're a BMW driver, a shiver just shot down your spine. Here's what the backup camera looks like in case you're interested, and of course this does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, however it is not wireless from the factory. Down below that we have 2 climate control vents, hazard switch and central locking, and then we have our radio options. So I do have volume off to left, mode, AM, FM of course, but then these favorite buttons can actually be set to a couple different things. Not only your favorite radio stations like they traditionally have worked in the past, but you could also set it to favorite navigation points. You could set number 5 to bring you right to your Apple CarPlay. You could basically treat these as hotkeys, which is really, really cool. BMW's done this for a while, and I don't understand why more automakers haven't taken this up and used this feature. Then we have the climate controls, dual zone, heated seats, auto, fan speed, all of the necessities. Then we have a little cubby and opening cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 2020 BMW M240i, and unfortunately it fails. I did not expect it to pass, so unfortunately my guess came true. We do have a 12-volt outlet in with those cup holders, and then we move on to the center console. So off to the left, we have a couple interesting buttons for the traction control off. Then we have our drive modes. So we have Eco Pro, Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus. Sport Plus is going to turn off your traction control. This is going to leave you to your own devices. Good luck, buckaroo. Then we have the parking sensors on and off, and moving into the center, we have the shifter. I hated the shifter when it originally came out, but I've actually grown to be fine with it. I don't love it, but I'm not at odds with it anymore. It's a weird push button on the left. Park is its own button. It goes back to the center when you let go of it. Just sort of odd. Then off to the right, we have the controls for the center screen, the infotainment screen, and I love this. I love the dial. I love the tactile feedback. I love the tactile buttons. And the screen is a touch screen, so if you don't want to use the dial, you don't have to, but I like that you have the option. I think BMW has done a really good job with this. Then we do have a center console, and then we gotta talk about the seats. The seats are decently aggressive. So they are pretty sporty. If you're looking for a very comfortable cruiser, honestly, BMW really isn't the brand for you when it comes to seats. Most of their seats are more aggressive than their competition, especially if you go up to the competition vehicles, they get really, really hardcore seats. So par for the course when it comes to the BMW Auto Group. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. So there is a button right over here that you can power scoot it forward. All right, so now that we're in the back, it's not glorious. I do fit, but that's with the seat literally touching the steering wheel, so no human could actually be driving in this position. So the 2 Series isn't great. They did make a 2 Series sedan, which I've never reviewed before. But that is what the kids call butt ugly. So, and there's no like performance version of that or anything. So you can get these in a sedan, but I don't know, I wouldn't. Let's hop out, we'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the BMW M240i. Little button down here to pull it up, and you do get a pretty decent amount of trunk space. For a coupe, this is plenty of space to go on a week and a half long trip. All your luggage will fit back here. Definitely much better than the Supra. Definitely much better than the GR86. Most other coupes that I reviewed don't have the trunk space that this car has, so I really, really am happy to see that. Now we gotta talk about the looks. And first of all, the owner Edgar has put on a lot of added carbon fiber. These are also aftermarket wheels, which I think altogether looks spectacular. I think it really adds to the look of the M240i without tarnishing its qualities, which its qualities are massive. I think this car looks incredible from the factory, and I think that this body style is going to go down in history as one of the classics from the BMW company. So before I dive into that rabbit hole, let's start off. Let's get my final thoughts out of the way. What do I think driving the M240i? It's a fantastic driving experience. I love it. I hope it never ends, but I know unfortunately to make this video, it will at some point. The B58, fantastic. I love it. The 8-speed automatic from ZF, fantastic. I love it. Steering, fantastic. I love it. And to cap it all off, how it looks is just so great. I love this generation of the 2 Series. I think they did a fantastic job. I think it's classic. I think it's timeless. And so moving forward, this is kind of the good old days to me. You know, I was thinking about this on the way to this review. I like the new 2 Series. I really, really do. I don't want that to be misconstrued. I like the new 2 Series. I think it's a good evolution of the car, but this to me will always be the classic. It's much like junior high. Junior high, I had no worries in the world. Life was less serious. It wasn't so hectic. I had less on my plate. When I received $200 for being on the David Letterman show, I almost walked down the street and bought Rockefeller Plaza myself. $200 back in the day would last me forever. I was a millionaire. That's how I feel about this car. It's simple. It doesn't have all this added weight on its shoulders, and especially now considering the outburst and outcry against the new generation of M2 and 2 Series, this car was unproblematic. I haven't met a person that doesn't like these cars. And so moving forward, this is going to be something to look out for. This is going to be a hot car in 5, 10, 15 years. Because the BMW M2 is great, but that's going to be held onto by collectors, and that is going to carry an obscene premium going forward. Look at the old E46 M3 prices, but a regular E46 3 Series goes for fine money. You can find them under $10,000 every single day of the week. So I think that's what's going to happen with this car. I think the M2 and M2 competition is going to skyrocket through the roof given time, but I think this, the M240i, just because it doesn't carry the M2 badge, I think is going to be held at a discount. And what a fantastic bargain you're going to get with this car. Pairing that with, I think, the better looks, pairing that with this vehicle being all-wheel drive, I almost start to sound foolish for not buying one myself. And if I'm ever in the position, I hope to buy one myself, because these cars are dang good. Everything about it. And that's what I love to see. I think this car will go down in history as one of the best BMW products of the modern era, especially the 2020s, for sure, without a doubt. And I'm very happy to see that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Edgar for letting me take out his M240i. I was so excited to get back behind the wheel of one of these. I love them so much. Edgar's been fantastic to work with, and he made this video possible. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.